Hey guys, welcome back to the Beyond the Game podcast. My name is Jess Crowe and I'm joined here today by Brandon McMullen. Brandon, how's it going?
All good, thanks, Jess. Just enjoying my time in Edinburgh at the moment.
Good. Now today we're going to be discussing your entire career in cricket. But firstly, take me right back to the beginning. Of course, born and raised in South Africa. What was that time like for you?
I think growing up in South Africa it was awesome. I had the most amazing childhood, family time, and got to play all the sports. Live the dream back in the sunshine. So no, I loved my time down there.
And how was cricket first introduced into your life?
Honestly, from just like such a young age, when I can remember, I had a bat and ball in my hands. Getting a helmet and a cricket bat for Christmas from my dad when I was 5, 6 years old. So from whenever I can remember, it was cricket's always been a part of my life.
Excellent. Now, of course, arguably cricket and rugby being the two biggest sports over in South Africa. Did you ever sort of dabble in rugby as well?
Of course. I was lucky enough with the family I was brought up in. We played all sports from cricket to rugby to golf to tennis, just everything I could get my hands on. I was running around the field causing chaos. So, I dabbled in rugby a little bit during school. But then when cricket took over, I kind of took a step back.
And now a lot of players would say that the sport side of things, and cricket in particular, has a big sentimental value, whether that's obviously playing in the backyard with brothers, sisters, family members. Do you resonate with that?
For sure. There was always, I've got an older brother, so there was always big competition playing backyard cricket or just playing rugby with him or just doing all sports. So I always try to compete with him and try to always up him, I guess, in the backyard and just when we were playing in the nets and stuff. So that competitive nature has always been there with me.
Now, I'm the oldest, so I know what it's like when you've got younger siblings. It's very demanding, like you will bowl at me and I will bat. That's sort of how it goes with the older sibling. Is that sort of the dynamic you had going as well?
A little bit. I always wanted to bowl at my brother, just because obviously I was so much younger than him. So I always wanted to try and hit him in the shin or try and hit him in the head if I was running and steaming and trying to bowl as fast as I can. So it was always competitive between myself and him.
And how fondly do you look back at those years, both in and outside of cricket?
Oh, every day, to be honest, Jess. Just looking back and those good times spent in the backyard or in the house, just talking nonsense, playing together. It's those moments that you cherish for your rest of your life.
And how would you describe yourself as a young player? Obviously, you said they're trying to always hit your brother in the head or the shin. I presume that's quite an aggressive attack when you were younger. But as a young player, when you started taking the game more seriously, how would you describe yourself as part of the squad?
Quite reserved, I would say. I kind of stick down in the shadows a little bit. Just get on with my own thing. Don't try and stay in the limelight as much as I try and stay out of the limelight as much as possible. Just kind of nice and calm, chilled out, relaxed. That's the kind of person I like to be, and that obviously resonates in my cricket as well.
I was going to say, have you sort of carried that characteristic throughout the rest of your career as well?
I definitely try to. The pressures of the game sometimes can get to you, but I try my best to stay level-headed and stay calm. And through the ups and lows of the game, then you got to try and stay level throughout everything. So I do my best to. Sometimes it gets the better of me behind closed doors. I wouldn't say in front of the camera or anything like that, but I try my best to stay that nice level, calm-headed.
And what's sort of key to that mental preparation then to allow you to be so calm and level-headed?
I just think on the cricket field, like backing your skills, backing your prep and your training and stuff, that you're going to go out in the game and try and succeed for the team. So I just try and stay positive self-talk, a lot of imagery, stuff like that. I studied a bit of it at university as well, so which has definitely helped me going through my cricket career.
And at what point did you kind of realize that cricket could be of a potential career path for you?
I think as soon as I grabbed that first bat when I was 5 or 6, when they were 4, 5, 6 years old, when I can remember. I just thought cricket was always the dream. I always wanted to be a professional cricketer. I always wanted to play on the world stage, and thankfully and very fortunate and very privileged that I could be able to do it today.
And of course, South Africa produces some of the greats of the game today. Who were some of your biggest cricketing heroes growing up?
I think Jacques Kallis is number one for me and still is. I think he's the greatest cricketer of all time, and he was definitely a person I aspired to try and be one day. AB de Villiers, of course, And then, on the flip side, you look at like Virat Kohli and these guys. So, but definitely Jacques Kallis was number one on the list for me.
Are there any like sort of aspects of their game that you took inspiration from, implemented them into your own, that you still see in your own game today?
I think with Kallis, I'm an all-rounder myself, so I try and look at him and see how he developed his game through his career. Obviously, batting at 3 and bowling some crucial overs, and trying to get that in my game as well, for where I see myself in the Scotland team. Bat 3 and open the bowling. So got a relatively key role within the squad. So yeah, just try and copy him as much as possible, I guess, from looking back. And then likes of the best players in the world, they play 360 around the ground. So again, just a lot of practice down to that. But if you can keep one-upping the bowlers, that's the most important thing as we move forward in our careers.
Of course, and now you've had the opportunity to play cricket all over the world, which we will get into later on in the conversation. But are there any of those sort of heroes that you had growing up that you've now had the chance to actually share the field with?
I have actually a couple, or played against them in recent times, which has been a pinch me moment, to be honest. Sitting at home in South Africa, or even here in Scotland now in Edinburgh. Never would have ever dreamt of potentially playing with some of these players. So, no, it's been an amazing journey so far, and hopefully many more to come.
Are there any players that, as I say again, sort of the franchise world, it brings a lot of players from around the world into the same team? Have you ever had to run in and bowl against like a really close mate from Scotland, or sort of bat against a bowler that you know really well? And sort of how do you keep that competitive spark alive when you are playing against those guys?
I remember last year in the Nepal Premier League, I played against Chris Soul, a fellow Scot. Bowls the speed of light, bowls 150 kilometers an hour, and I remember him running in, and we both had a smile on our faces. I was batting, he was bowling, and I was saying, "How can I one up you here, Solly?" So it has happened a couple occasions, where I've played a fellow teammate, which is really cool. I guess you have that like giddiness about you, want to try and outperform them, but at the end of the day, you're still teammates, and there's always bragging rights if you get one over them.
Of course, I can imagine. And now you moved to Scotland in 2018. What was sort of the reason behind that move?
I just think change of scenery, away from South Africa. Obviously, leaving family was difficult, but I think just the Scottish people are amazing. They're the most friendly people, most welcoming people. So a big part of the move was to try and pursue cricket as well, but I came for uni. That was number one priority, and then I kind of just stayed on, and cricket's taken me where I am today. So very fortunate to be able to have done what I did when I did the move. But yeah, so uni and to pursue cricket was big priorities for me.
And tell me more about that uni experience then. How was that for you as a whole, and what did you study?
I studied sports and psychology. So it definitely helps on the cricket field these days, on the mental side of things and the prep. But I love my time at uni. I was at Stirling University. So it was an awesome 4 years out there, formed some pretty cool relationships and made some good friends along the way. And it was just an amazing time.
And how would you compare the two, South Africa to Scotland? I mean, you've gone from really warm to freezing cold.
I'm not sure, really. I think I've been accustomed to the place now. Edinburgh and Scotland's home. So when I go back to South Africa, it's more holiday to see family, I guess. It was a bit of a culture shock to begin with. Definitely the winters were a struggle, but now thankfully with cricket, I spend most of my winters away from the cold. So, but the change was awesome. I loved it, to be honest. I wouldn't. I would do it all over again if I had the chance.
Excellent. And now, what was your first experience of cricket in Scotland? Was that at university?
No, it was club cricket at Stirling County Cricket Club. That was my first kind of taste of Scottish cricket, and how competitive it was back then. Playing with the red ball in the whites, where now we play pink ball coloured kit. So, but my first instance was like super competitive, some really talented players, and I was like, well, geez, this could be home, and thankfully it is home now.
And what was that first involvement with Cricket Scotland then, sort of moving more into the national side?
It was kind of in my second to last year of uni, and last year of uni where I kind of got into the fold. Played a bit of regional cricket, going through the ranks, and then played a few 18 games went a few 18 tours and stuff like that. So that's kind of was the progression, getting into the national side, and then a little bit of a shock call for the 2022 World Cup in Australia, where I got a phone call on the Monday after a regional series weekend, and I did okay on the weekend. I didn't do anything special, but just mind my own business, and then got a phone call on the Monday morning saying, "Congrats, you're going to the World Cup." And that experience, that phone call will stick with me for the rest of my life. So it was super, super special, and I was just over the moon, buzzing for it.
I was going to say, what were those emotions, sort of getting the call at one day playing sort of almost club cricket in Scotland, and the next day you go into the World Cup with Scotland? What was that emotion running through your body?
I kind of got the phone call and I went blank for about 10 seconds. I didn't say anything. I kind of so many things were going through my head, and I was like, what's going on? Like, this is literally, it's the dream has come true here. It's become reality. So no, that was an epic experience to get that phone call. It's always a privilege to play for your country and put the shirt on. But yeah, that first phone call, my first selection was immense. Like, so many emotions running through. Don't really have words to describe it, to be honest.
No, I can imagine. And now, were there any sort of coaches or more senior players that you really saw as a mentor, and they really sort of guided you through those early years of your career?
In Scotland? A couple. So I was lucky enough to obviously play regional cricket, and Richie Barrington, current Scotland captain now, was part of that squad, and Matthew Cross as well. So got good relationships with them, and that kind of helped me and kind of got me ready to I guess play on the world stage and play and represent Scotland as well. So those were probably two names that I spent a lot of time with away from club cricket and my life in Stirling. So yeah, probably those two.
And now, obviously, we spoke about sort of going with Scotland to the World Cup in 2022. Although you didn't play, but what was that experience like, just to completely immerse yourself in the on the biggest stage, basically?
Absolutely amazing. I think it really helped my career, and even not playing on that trip, just running on drinks, I got to field a couple of the games, fielded for most of the West Indies game, which we won, which was an amazing experience. I just think taking it all in, singing the national anthem in front of everyone. There was a load of traveling Scotland fans as well, which was pretty cool. So a couple of mates were playing club cricket in Australia at the time. They came to Hobart and watched, and just the whole experience around it was, as I said, dream come true. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Great stuff. And then later that year, you actually made your ODI debut for Cricket Scotland. Can you describe the sort of excitement and, of course, inevitable nerve around that period of time?
Yeah, I was obviously buzzing. I was really nervous going to the World Cup, of course, just anticipating to potentially play on the world stage as your first cap. Where I said that probably helped me going and making my debut in Namibia a couple of months later. I think I was a little bit more nervous in Namibia as well, because I had family there. They came over and watched, which was, again, a special occasion to share that moment with them. That first cap for me was awesome, and just over the moon, to be honest.
Excellent. And you quickly cemented your place in the role as that batting all-rounder. Did you ever sort of, how long did it take for you to specialise as a developing player in either bowling or batting, or were you sort of always that all-rounder role?
Always. Growing up, I always wanted to compete with both bat and ball, stay in the game as much as possible. Trying to stay in the hot spots in the field, or be the guy to take the ball in those crunch moments, and be the guy to win the game with the bat. So it was drilled into me as a kid, I think, just trying to, be able to perform in all facets of the game. So luckily enough, that's the way, I trained it, as it was, as I said, drilled into me, and became second nature. So very fortunate that I can play this key role in the Scotland team today.
Of course. And then you made your T20 international debut the following year in 2023. Did you obtain a certain amount of confidence from making your ODI debut the previous year, and then take that forward into that T20 debut?
I think so, definitely. I was lucky enough to do all right on that first trip when I made my debut. So a load of self-confidence there that I actually can do it at this level. There's always self-doubt whenever you play in professional cricket and against the best in the world. You're always doubting yourself. Can I do it? Can I do it? So having done a small snippet of it, definitely took confidence in making that T20 debut in the qualifiers. which again was high pressure going into, you have to win all 7 games to qualify for another World Cup. So, and I love that pressure, to be honest. I think I thrive off it, and that's the reason why I play the game, is to play in those crunch moments.
And now you mentioned those World Cup qualifiers there. Of course, 2023 being a key year really in the upward trajectory of your career. You played a key role, obviously, in the qualifiers. You took your first 5-wicket haul to seal the victory over Ireland, then scoring 136 versus Oman. You made an ODI century. How fulfilling was this period of time for you as a player?
Yeah, it was awesome. That was the first trip that I was given that role to back number 3. And then I know I opened the bowling as well. So I was that was the first shot at everything, being that all-rounder role. And yeah, it was an amazing trip. I think that Ireland game was incredible. Yes, I got 5 wickets, but all credit needs to go to the man Michael Leask for what he did on that day. It was pretty special to watch. I don't think I've been so nervous watching a cricket game or being part of a cricket game than I was that day, sitting on a seat in Harare, in Bulawayo, sorry. My hands were dripping with sweat. I was so nervous watching Michael do something pretty special that day. So, but yes, it was an amazing trip, a huge confidence booster for me as a player. Having done well on that trip as well. So I take that confidence hugely in going forward.
And of course, that success that you saw there was intentional. It was, sort of the outcome of those years of preparation beforehand. What did that sort of physical and then also the mental side of that preparation look like for you in that tournament?
I'm not sure really, to be honest.
Really.
Just go out there and play a game and back yourself. We had a really exciting squad that time, where we all played for each other. There was a massive amount of belief within the squad. That was enriched from players like Richie, players like Chris Soul, who brought like some sort of energy for us that got us geared up to let's go and compete here and try and get that chance to play at a World Cup in India. So the mental side of things, I was really lucky in terms of how clear I was for the role clarity I had, which definitely helped going into the tournament.
Then going from debuting for Scotland the year before to now being one of Scotland's standout players in that tournament, how full circle was that moment for you?
Yeah, again, pinch me moment, to be honest. I would have never dreamt of where I'm at today. Obviously, a lot of hard work goes into it. A lot of early mornings, batting in the snow, batting in the ice in the winters in Stirling, just on my own on the bowling machine. So there is a lot of sacrifice that goes with it. But it's a pretty special feeling to sit here with you and chat and say that I've represented Scotland and keep trying to win games for the country.
Of course. And then it was time for the biggest stage of them all, of course, going back to the World Cup with Scotland in 2024. At this time, taking the field and being part of the squad. One of the moments that stood out to me was the rapid half century that you scored versus Australia. Of course, establishing yourself again as one of Scotland's strongest players during that comp. Can you sort of transport me back to that time? Obviously, having that experience of the World Cup in 2022, but now taking the field and being more cemented in the squad. What was that time like?
I was so excited, to be honest. Go to the Caribbean to play as well as just on a trip on its own was amazing. Experiencing the cricket craze in the Caribbean, the fans, the islands, just the lifestyle they live there is awesome. So that tour was amazing. The cricket side of things, we were massively confident of trying to even get out that group. I know we were drawn against England and Australia and Oman and Namibia, so it was a tough group to get out of. But again, that self-belief was throughout the whole squad, and that team belief was throughout the whole squad there. So it was awesome. And playing Australia, one of the premier teams in world cricket, best in the world at the time, it was pretty special to go out there and try and do them over. But unfortunately, it wasn't our day in the end.
No, of course. And now I could go on with the list of achievements you've now gone on to have with Scotland, but do you have a favourite achievement in the book so far?
That's tough. Favorite achievement, I'm not sure.
It's got to be a World Cup, right?
Probably that innings against Australia, I would say.
Mm.
Probably way up there. Just high profile. Obviously, had a World Cup, world stage. Had my family watching as well, which was awesome. So no, that was probably the best moment, I would say.
And now tell me more about that squad, the Scotland squad away from the field then. What do those personalities and characters look like?
An array of characters, array of personalities. So, yeah, it always keeps us busy, and it always has a smile on most people's faces. What people do at trainings and away from the game, on the golf course, on the paddle court. So, it's some awesome personalities, awesome characters. Michael Leese is definitely the front runner on that. I think he keeps everybody entertained. So, it's an awesome squad to be a part of. Everyone's really close, and we spend a lot of time with each other. Just the nature of being an associate cricketer, we do spend a lot of time together. So it's amazing.
Of course, spending a lot of time together also means spending a lot of time on planes together as well. Is there anyone that you're steering clear of and anyone you're sitting next to?
I'm definitely steering clear of Christopher Greaves on the airplane, and definitely staying clear of Jasper Davidson. I think, he chews my ear off like he cannot believe, Jasper. So stay away from him on an airplane. That's my life goal, I think, going forward.
Life goal. I'm sure they're happy to hear that. And who are some of those biggest cricket badges in your team? Who loves talking cricket?
Well, Jasper Davidson's probably up there. Michael Leask loves talking cricket. Who's a big badger? I mean, I'm not going to shy away from him. I'm a pretty big badger myself, so I like to follow the scores and to see what the world's doing in the cricketing world. But biggest badger. I don't know. Finn McCreath's probably up there as well.
Okay.
So a few of the new guys coming in the squad are definitely the badgers around, I reckon.
Very good. And now, alongside playing for Scotland, you've also taken the world stage and started playing in franchise cricket for many years now. But can you take us back to that first franchise experience? What was that for you?
The first franchise experience for me was, this is bad actually. What was it?
Really memorable, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was amazing. What was it? Oh, it would have. I think it was GT20 in Canada.
Excellent.
I think that was my first experience of franchise cricket, because I originally was in for the ILT. That was going to be my first, but then I injured my ankle, so unfortunately couldn't go. Then the following year, the GT20 happened. So, it was definitely the Canada one, and then moving on from there was Nepal, and then ILT. So those are my first three. But amazing experience. I got to play with some pretty cool players, Marcus Stoinis, Mohamed Nabi. So it was awesome to share the field with them.
Excellent. Now, you've seen some beautiful corners of the world, but do you have a favourite?
Where cricket's taken me, I would have to say Nepal's definitely up there for me. I think the place is amazing. The people are amazing. The cricket's awesome. They love it. It's an absolute religion there. So that's probably up there. And then I can't go away from the Caribbean. I think was my favorite tour outside of the cricket stuff. Was good golf, good lifestyle, very relaxed. Beaches are amazing, weather's amazing. So I think the Caribbean probably tops the list.
Yeah, it doesn't really get better than the Caribbean. And now over in Nepal, obviously you said that there's just a complete adoration for the game over there. But can you try and possibly sum up or describe the atmosphere at those games?
It's a noise like no other, honestly.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to tour Nepal first with Scotland. And that was my first little taste of the crowd, of how much they love cricket. And it's playing a 50-over game starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you've got 20,000 people in already, and you're like, God, like this is immense.
Yeah.
It's a noise like no other. I think for me, the most amazing part of it is that they support everyone. Even though you're a touring team or an opposition, they're still celebrating your success. They just want to see good cricket. And that's probably my little sum up of the Nepalese fans is just love cricket. They want to see success from everyone. And yeah, they just love it. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was speaking or interviewing someone, I don't think I could even hear myself speak. I didn't know how loud I was speaking. Like there's nothing quite like it, is there?
Yeah, literally nothing like it. You try and communicate call between the wickets, and you're just using hand signals, and you're doing all sorts of funky stuff to try and not get run out. So no, it's it's the noise is next level. I was lucky enough to play Eden Gardens now recently, and that was 50,000 people against England, and then Nepal was 30,000, and the noise factor was double against Nepal. So it's pretty crazy to think of, but it's why we play, and it's those moments where you look back on and you go, that was pretty epic.
Of course. And now another franchise experience of yours was the IL T20, playing for the Dubai Capitals, lifting the trophy with them that season as well. What was key to the success that you saw as a squad throughout that season?
I don't think I could pinpoint it, to be honest. It was a pretty chaotic season. We kind of started off with a win, and then we lost like 4 games in a row, and then kind of came back into it. So it was pretty a whirlwind tournament for us with Dubai Capital. So there was nothing pinpointed, but I just think the goal is always to win. As you do at most tournaments, you want to win the trophy, and you find a way. And that tournament, we found a way. Guys peaked at the right times. Guys stepped up at the right times for us. So that was awesome to be a part of, and running on the field there celebrating a win is pretty epic as well.
Excellent. And then playing under experienced captain, of course, of Sam Billings there, he's led multiple teams to lift trophies. What did his expertise bring to the group?
I think just like a bit of tactical awareness. He's obviously done it for other teams. Oval Invincibles, he's pretty successful on that side of things. I think knowing a few tricks of the trade in his career definitely helped us go forward and win that competition.
And now playing in all these comps around the world, you're constantly coming across both new and old faces. Is there anyone in particular that you really look forward to playing either with or against?
I think recently I was with the Knight Riders, the Abu Dhabi Knight Riders, and Jason Holder is an absolute gem of a human being, and I really looked forward to playing alongside him and just learning off him and his style, and a few battles on the golf course as well, which was good. So no, I think Jace was really cool to be a part of his team.
Excellent. And now spending a lot of time on the road, then it's really important that you find an outlet to take your mind away from cricket. Apart from golf, what does that look like for you?
I mean, I love my paddle. I'm convinced it's the best sport in the world, even though I play cricket. So paddle and golf are probably the two things I try and get away from cricket with. It's one of the first things I pack in the bag when I go on the road. Make sure the paddle racket's with me. Make sure the golf clubs are set and they're not going to break. So that's the privilege of being a professional cricketer, I guess, these days, is the travel aspect and having days off to go and see different parts of a country, and potentially that's seeing many parts of the golf course. But it's always good fun.
You wouldn't be the only player who packs their golf clubs before their cricket kit. I think a lot of players are with you on that one. And then this year, of course, as you mentioned earlier, getting the very last minute call up to the World Cup with Scotland, the one that's currently taking place right now. But how quick was that turnaround for you?
Yeah, it was rapid. That was a pretty crazy time to be a part of. We were very unsure what was happening. I remember kind of get a message saying there's a possibility we preparing to potentially go, but we're not going to know until last minute stuff. So I remember I was sitting in a cafe with Finn McCreath, and we get a phone call, right, we're going to the World Cup. And I was like, I don't know if I'm obviously extremely excited, but I was like, the emotions of not being in, the disappointment of not qualifying, and then get the opportunity to go, fortunately was a whirlwind of emotion at that given time. But prep time, we only had maybe a week of indoor training before we jetted off to India. So but it was a bit of a blessing in disguise in a way for us. It was a good free shot at it, and to showcase our skills again on the world stage. So no, luckily enough, we were there, and I guess we did okay. We would have liked to do better, but it was good fun, good trip.
Of course. Now you definitely showcased your skills as a squad over that huge victory you saw over Italy. You scored a quick 41 off 18 yourself. What was that game like for you as a squad?
I think we're just going out there really clear. We wanted to dominate against all the teams that we're coming against. We definitely backed ourselves to get out the group again. We believe we're a top 10 team in world cricket, and we've got some seriously talented players. So going into that Italy game was just express ourselves, go out there and showcase what we're made of, and it showed on the field there. We kind of almost played the perfect game in a way. Now
looking ahead to the rest of your career, then you've got plenty of years to go. What else do you want to achieve?
That's a loaded question there, Jess. I'm not sure. I think for me, main goal is to just, take Scotland forward and to do something pretty special with the team. I think that's probably my main goal as a cricketer is where can we go on world events? Can we get to a semi-final of a World Cup? It's definitely not out of reach. We got the talent, we got the skill. We just got to put our minds to it and make it happen. So that'll be an amazing achievement, I think, going forward as a team, and for me to be a part of that will be amazing.
Excellent. And now finally, just to finish, I'm going to put you on the spot again. You can't have a think about this, but for any sort of young and aspiring players out there, what would be one word of advice you'd have for them?
I think I always say this when I do a bit of coaching to youngsters is just making sure you enjoy it. Make sure you play with a smile on your face, because those moments when you play a lot on field with most of your mates, you've got to enjoy it. If you get angry and naturally you're going to get disappointed potentially. Cricket's a game of failure. So the positives only, you got to stay nice and positive. And again, play with a smile on your face, enjoy every single moment of it, and go out there, back yourself. For me, that's a big part of it is, back your skill, and believe that you can do it. I think that's another big part of it.
Excellent. Well, look, Brandon, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and all the best for the season ahead.
Thanks. Appreciate it.